Let's turn our attention then to 4 fascinating races down at Wincanton. There'll be a nice big crowd down there. It's always a really good meeting, that. 4 races on the ITV4 schedule. Starting at 150 with the Jockey Club Mares Handicap Hurdle. Frank, away you go with the betting.
Yeah, we're favourite the Organist at 9-2, Copper K 11-2, Secret Door 6-1, Tara Booth 13-2, On Demand, and Wizard Sleeve 8-1, and we're 9-1 bar.
Maddie, do you think this could be a pipe opener for the Organist?
It could be, yeah. I mean, she's not...
The Organist, pipe opener.
Very good.
Yeah, I just thought I would just ignore that one, Bruce. Yeah, I mean, the Organist, not for me. She's obviously very talented, but I'm not sure, like you say, first time out. If anyone knows me very well at all, they'll know I absolutely adore Copper K. I've followed her since she won her bumper at Cheltenham. And I think this will be much more her bag. She's had that start over fences where not everything went her way. So if you're wanting to look at one at a bigger price, Ellen's Way, I believe, she actually beat Copper K. She was a bit lucky on that occasion, but Sam Twiston-Davies riding for Jeremy Scott, which could be quite interesting. But yeah, I've got to stay loyal to my mare here. Copper K is hugely talented, and I think this will be much more her bag, and she's fit.
Copper K, one of Maddie's cliff horses. James, who'd you like?
Well, I'm sure Copper K is going to run well. She's very consistent. This is a very competitive race. I think I'll go with the Organist with all this forecast rain. She does seem to go well on soft ground, as all Oliver Sherwood's horses tend to. She's quite well handicapped as well. I mean, she was unlucky, certainly unlucky not to finish second at Cheltenham last April. She went for a run up the rail, didn't get it, and that cost her a good 5 lengths. So she might, you know, on that run she might have been a few pounds higher. And providing she's straight enough first time up, I think she can go well.
And Frank, given the Organist runs in the green and gold, are we expecting some morning market clues there?
You'd imagine. So we're ducky at the moment. There's as big as 8-1 out there, and to be honest, that tempted me in. Like, she clearly was absolutely terrible at jumping fences. Reverted to hurdles, ran okay in the mare's hurdle. She was 7th, beaten 15 lengths, which wasn't too bad considering it was a pretty strong renewal. And as James alluded to there, she was particularly unlucky at Cheltenham in April. It's difficult to say she would have won, but I think she would have been second at worst. I think there's plenty of scope off a mark of 135. Like, if you take out the chasing form, she's really consistent. Like, if you go back even to April 2016, she was going to dot up off the mark of 135, and she fell at the last. For me, I think she's a cracking bet, and I'd be having a cut off her. I'd say that 8-1 won't be lasting too long. I'd say.
You're going to get stuck in, are you, Frank, on the Organist? OK, quick word on the 225. It's the Jockey Club Rising Stars novice steeplechase. Only 3 runners. 4-6 Modus, 7-4 Calondra, 8-1 Valhalla. Maddie?
I mean, it's hard to say much about these sort of races, isn't it? Modus, I mean, he made a good start and he looks the class horse. But I would say I don't think he's perhaps going to get an absolute cakewalk. Calondra is a very decent hurdler and made a really nice, smooth chasing debut. So, yeah, I mean, it's a 3-runner race. It's a shame there's not more runners in it, but Modus would be hard to beat. But I don't think he'll have it all his own way.
You going to have a bet here, James?
I might do, you know. Modus didn't really look a natural jumper last time, and these fences at Wincanton do take some jumping. They're quite big. Calondra's always looked a chasing prospect to me, and he was also pretty decent over hurdles. So, you know, they're both carrying the same weight. So, yeah, I might have a wee bet on Calondra.
You're going to get involved?
Two votes for Calondra.
2 votes for Calondra, yeah. What about you, Frank? Does this do it for you?
No, I'd probably make a cup of tea while that race is on, to be honest.
I don't believe you make tea. I bet you have a tea boy over there.
Oh, no, I do most of the making the tea for the office. The rest of them are lazy out, so...
Really?
I do it. Yeah, yeah.
We have a few of them, don't we? People don't
man
get
of the
them
people
round.
group. Man of the people.
I'm glad to hear it. Now, this is a heat and a half. 3 o'clock, it's the Stan James Elite Hurdle, Grade 2, 2 mile, and should be a really cracking heat. This very insightful as far as the rest of the hurdling season goes. What's the latest betting, Frank?
Yeah, we gave us a bit of rejigging this morning. Charbel is now favourite, 11-4. Lockdorg Spirit, 7-2. Flying Tiger and London Prize are both 9-2. Zubair, 11-2. Coeur de Leon, 15-2. And Old Melodic Rendezvous is 33-1.
Why did you have such a big rejig? What was the fresh info that you had there?
I think when it was priced up on Monday, they thought Charbel wouldn't run. And now that he's declared, I think... he looks particularly well treated off 149. I might go into what I fancy. I think Charbel will make them all go here. 149 you go. He probably ran in one of the hottest Supremes ever, bar probably the one that Alfroth when he beat Spirit Sun. And Sprinter Sacre was probably the only one that matches up to the one Altior won. He was 5th. Like, if you go through the race, Jesus, it was...
I know, it's astonishing, wasn't it?
Absolutely an amazing race. Altior beating Maine, Bouverdare, Tombstone, Super Sunday won a Coral Cup, Team Mouchoir favourite for the Arkle, North Hill Harvey won a Greatwood. Absolutely incredible race. And here he is running off 149. Now, who's to say whether he would have beaten Altior in the Arkle? He probably wouldn't, but still, he was putting it up to him. And Altior is considered one of the most exciting prospects in training. If this Charbel's ready to go, he is a good thing.
Do you know what? It takes me so long to get over bets. There were two things happened at Cheltenham last year that absolutely slaughtered me, and one was obviously Mellon getting beat. But Charbel, I thought he was going so well. I was on all sorts of prices there. So I'm going to get my money back tomorrow, am I, Frank, on Charbel, yeah?
You're trusting he's going to be fit, but he won first time out in 2015, and he won first time out over fences last year. So you'd imagine he'll be ready to rock. And off 149, Jesus, yeah, he'd take these apart if he's ready to rock.
Take these apart. Do you agree, Maddie? Well,
you're making me a bit nervous because obviously Charbel is a classy horse and you are just banking on him being ready. But I've actually had a bet on this race already. I backed Lockderg Spirit earlier in the week up, I think about 5-6 to 1 or something like that. If you remember, after he won at Kempton last year, they were talking him up as a massive supreme horse. He might have even been contesting for favouritism at one point. Disappointed then at Ascot and then won again afterwards. But I just think this horse, he jumps so well. He obviously likes the soft ground early on in the season, so time to catch him. And obviously it is a really, really tough race with Charbel in there, but off a mark of 137, I think he's the one for me. And I put my money where my mouth is now, so I can't go back.
Okie dokes. James, what's your view of this one?
I think it's difficult to argue against what Frank's saying. I mean, Charbel is definitely well handicapped. I'm too a bit nervous about how fit he'll be. But I mean, you look at his record first time out; it's immaculate. Last 3 seasons, he's won first time out. And he goes well fresh. He was running a cracking race in the Arkle. Might well have won it had he not come down, and he was coming into that after the break. So I think I've got to go with him because nothing really amongst his rivals I think is too concerning. I mean, I think the ground has gone against the 2 horses who run on the flat, London Prize and Zubair. They won't like the forecast rain. The 4-year-olds have got a lot to prove, and I think Lockderg Spirit's got a lot to prove on form as well. So really, with his record, first time out being so good, I've got to go for Charbel.
OK, let's look then at the highlight of the card. It's the 3:35, the Badger Ales Trophy. 3-mile chase, as usual, loads and loads of runners, loads and loads of chances, and a nice wide open market. Frank, take us through the front runners.
Yeah, Present Man is favoured at 6 to 1. Southfield Theatre and Fletcher's Flyer, along with Southfield Royale, are 8 to 1. Yala Enki 10 to 1. Double Shuffle, Mr. Mix, Pilgrim's Bay, Victor Tuzane, and Henlin Harry 12 to 1. And we're 16 to 1 bar.
James Hill, you can go first.
Well, I was keen on Mr. Mix earlier in the week. I'm a bit nervous about his jumping anyway, but now the rain's coming, it's difficult, I think, to look beyond Yalarenki here. He's at about 151. That's as high as you want in terms of ratings. But his record first time out's very good. He was 3rd in that valuable fixed brush hurdle Betfred Chester at Haydock last season, and the year before that, 2015, he won a race at Exeter where the form worked out very well. Does seem to go very well fresh and at this time of year. And now the rain's coming for him, and with Venetia showing signs that she's coming into form a bit over the last week or so, he jumps well, so I've got to go for him.
I quite fancy the other Venetia, Victor Tuzan. Who do you like, Max?
Yeah, Jimmy said he mentioned Mr. Mix on the Monday Postcast, and actually I really liked him as well. It is a worry, as you say, his chasing experience, but what he's done so far, you can't really complain. That form behind Mia's Storm that he's got, that's worked out really well, and obviously you know he stays this trip and he's as fit as a fiddle. So when it's likely to be a slog in this ground, that's always a benefit. I don't really have a strong opinion, but I would say one that I'm keeping an eye on for races in the future is Final Nudge. I think he was going really well when he fell in, I think it was the Utoxeter Midlands National, and I think he could have another one of those long distance handicaps in him, but yeah, not this race for him. So perhaps Mr. Mix tentatively.
Frank, are you tentative or confident?
No, very tentative in this race. Again, it's a bit of a guessing game to see who's going to be, fully wound up for this and who's probably using as a stepping stone to maybe the old Hennessy. But I'm going to give a tentative vote to Fletcher's Flyer. Obviously, for Harry Fry's a as shrewd as they come. This horse is a Punchestown Festival winner of only, what was it, £5 lower than what he's running off here. He fairly well bolted up, and he'd a very light campaign last year. He was he ran that Silver Cup handicap chase at Ascot, and then he ran in the Reynoldstown before being pulled up for the Irish National. Now, he was only a 10-1 shot in that Irish National, and he's won it with Wincanton on heavy ground as a novice hurdler, so I think the ground should hold no fears, track should hold no fears. If he's wound up, I think he's still very fairly handicapped, and 8 or 10-1, whatever he is out there, is a fair each way price.
Right, well, away from the glare of the live TV cameras, in terms of ITV, obviously Racing UK will be broadcasting it. It's the 250 at Aintree, and it's another 3-runner race, but some big names in here. It's the Reed Noel Fearley 188 bet hurdle, 2.5 miles on good to soft ground. We don't have prices yet, but the runners are, you know what I mean, Harry, Top Notch and Value at Risk. Just hearing those names gets us going, doesn't it, for the winter ahead. Now then, is there a bet here, James, do you think?
Yeah, I think there could be. Top Notch, he's back at the hurdle, so I think getting a bit of weight from you know what I mean, Harry, I think that gives him a chance.
It's getting £8.
Well, that's a lot. You know what I mean, Harry does go very well fresh. Top Notch probably isn't at his best first time out, but one thing I've always thought about Top Notch is he would love Aintree over hurdles. He's a really good jumper over hurdles, and just getting that weight, what with the rain coming and stuff, that could swing things in his favour. So I'll be interested to see, if you know what I mean, Harry does go a favourite. That could leave a bit of juice for Top Notch at the prices.
A race to watch and savour or bet on?
Yeah, watch and savour for me. I think I can't really add much more to what Jimmy said. You know what I mean, Harry? Obviously top class and Top Notch getting that weight, it's just going to be a watching brief for me.
How about you, Frank?
Yeah, I'll just watch it. Like, you know what I mean, Harry, you'd probably be vulnerable over 2.5, and you'd expect Top Notch to put it up to him, but yeah, it wouldn't be a race that would excite me now from a betting point of view.
How might you be pricing it up, do you think?
Oh, I haven't a clue off the top of my head. I assume, you know what I mean, Harry, probably be fav, but I don't think there'd be much in it. I think they'd be pretty close in the market, to be honest.